In this video, I go over the key 6 steps to run a high converting webinar funnel in 2025. So this is going to work really well if you're an online coach, online consultant, or if you're just someone that sells info products online. So I'll go through the best webinar strategies that I've learned from books, $3,000 courses, mentors, and from analyzing many of the top 7-figure webinar funnels. So get ready to actually take some notes on this so you can implement some of this into your own funnel. So first step of the webinar funnel, we've got a lot to go through here. So first step, of course, the headline. One of the most key areas to a great opt-in page. So there's a few guidelines and things you want to think about when making a great title that really leads conversions. First thing is you want to invoke curiosity into whoever's reading it. So you can do this by breaking myths basically in your niche. So this could be something like how to lose weight without hitting the gym. That could be a myth maybe that people think, and that'll basically get them to rethink and go, how do you do this? How do you lose weight without hitting the gym? And that can invoke curiosity in people. Different ways, you can use in-depth starting guides. You basically want to frame the headline as something that's different to the content of yours that they've already seen. So different keywords that work are masterclass or secret formula, things like that. You can frame it as a step-by-step roadmap or an in-depth starting guide. You want to make it exclusive and you want to make it clear that it's something your audience hasn't already learned from you and your content. This could be, as I said before, more depth than previous content or a step-by-step roadmap. As well as this, you want to sell the experience of the webinar, not just the value. You want to make things seem lively and entertaining for people to actually sign up to, so that they realize that it's worth their time. So next thing, picking the right topic is huge. Being specific is very important. Specific pain points will really get people to understand that this webinar is exactly what they're looking for. So you want to do market research and understand exactly your audience's biggest struggles so that you can target something specifically to them. Here are some examples of webinar titles for your inspiration. So the types of titles you can use are ones like these. You can focus on the benefits, you can focus on new information that you're providing to them, or even a testimonial that you got that could interest them in the webinar. Or you could use a combination of all these three, they work very well. Subtitles, you just want to add additional benefits or even testimonial or the information you're going to cover, things like that. So step 2, setting the frame of the webinar. How are you going to actually get people to stay on this webinar? So a good way to do that is by hinting at solving a bigger common problem at the end. This can increase retention because people want to stay to the end to get that answer to their biggest problem. So you want to make sure this is targeted at the most burning pain point that your audience has, so they want to stick around to the end and hear it. So begin the webinar just by quick overview of what you're covering. Another thing is using scarcity early on and not just in the pitch. So you can do this by saying some lucky people at the end will achieve or receive an exclusive bonus from this webinar. So creating open loops in people's minds is another good way to increase retention. Open loops are basically hinting where you're introducing a problem that the audience wants to know desperately, and so they want to stay on for the solution. And it creates an open loop in their mind of wanting to know the answer. A tip is you want to focus on the pain point before showing the solutions, as pain motivates more than pleasure. Next, you quickly want to go over your story. This will build authority and get people to relate to where you started out. So you want to quickly go over how you went from a bad position in life to your dream position in life with the method that you're going to teach them today. So it's important also to position yourself early about why you're uniquely qualified to talk on a specific topic so that people can trust you earlier on. So step 3, from here you're going to use emotional storytelling to tell a relatable story of how you went from your low point to achieving your dream outcome, to show them that it's also possible for them. Using stories like this makes the webinar feel more authentic and it creates more of a sense of credibility. Makes it more engaging for the audience as everyone loves a story. And the most important part, it gets them engaged and excited, inspired, and in the right buying state to move forward and connect with you. The goal with the stories is to bring the audience with you on the ups and down emotional ride until you had your aha moment, where basically the aha moment is your moment where you had the breakthrough and you finally discovered the issue to your problem. So once they hit this moment, you want them to be in the exact same brain state that you were in, which is a really good state for buying. So talking about your limiting beliefs that you had to change along the journey to see success is also another way. It's a less explicit way basically to handle objections that people have. So for instance, objections like I can't do it, or I don't have the patience for this, or the method won't work out. Basically take them along your ride to how you overcame these limiting beliefs. So having your webinar as a story rather than a lecture is great because people really can't argue with stories, but they'll argue all day with lectures. So step 4 is teaching through story. So in this step, you basically want to go through the key points and tell stories about how you overcame that specific problem. So these points can be roadmaps, maybe the modules that you cover in your course, and you want to tell stories about when you had that exact problem, why most people struggle with the problem, and why it's hard to fix. You don't want them thinking that it's impossible to fix. You want to show them that it's just a lack of knowledge and guidance that has been holding them back. And throughout the story, you want to engage them, ask them if they've also experienced this issue. This engagement is always good for keeping people in the webinar. So throughout the story, you actually want to use that to teach them the mechanism that you found. So to do this, you want to think back to the aha moment that you had, and really just think back to the turning point when you knew the method was going to work, and present it to them through the story, which is a great way to teach it to them anyway. Then you want to finish by wrapping up with the result that it gave you in your life, benefits, and you will give a testimonial also if you have that strong testimonial of a student result. This system breaks down their objections about the vehicle because they see that it fixes the exact issues that they've faced. It also breaks their limiting beliefs about themselves not having the capabilities because they can see other people like them using the exact same methods in the testimonial. So this system can be a good way of teaching people the steps of your process in an engaging way. And you can really repeat this for every point in your webinar that you're trying to make and every teaching and lesson that you're trying to get across. Step 5 is the transition. This just helps to smooth things out before the pitch and make it flow naturally together right into the pitch. So you want to do a quick recap, 60 seconds or so, just bringing to the top of their mind the main points that you've gone through in the webinar. Next, you can get them to imagine themselves in a year with the dream outcome and without the pain that you spoke about before. These are some examples of extra ways that you can engage people at this stage. But you want to say and let them know that what you've talked about now is only just scratching the surface of what there is to know about what you're teaching, and that there's tons more value where this came from. Then you transition into the pitch. What I'm about to show next has changed the lives of hundreds of people, gets them excited to go. So step 6, of course, we've got the pitch. So this should flow naturally from the transition, and there's a few ways you can do this. So first is a value stack. So how you want to structure this is to use benefit bullet points. So you stack up the little benefits on a slide like this, showing a real monetary value that they are worth. If you want to make this more powerful as well, then you want to give a bit more proof that the benefits are actually worth the amount you're saying. So you can do this by showing what other people charge or what other people in the market are typically paying for a product like this. And a good rule of thumb is to have a 10-to-1 price ratio on this. So you want the value mentioned here to be 10 times the price that you show later. This just makes a price value discrepancy in their mind and makes them way more eager and urgent to buy. So the next method is price anchoring. So how you want to do this basically is give a value that other people typically charge for this similar service or product. Then you want to show what you normally charge, and then decrease the price even more for a special value that you charge on webinars for a limited time. Of course, there's different ways to run webinars depending on the niche. This is just a way that I've researched that works, and I've seen many other people who make 6 figures a month doing webinars run similar things to this as well. And then you want to send a link in the chat or somewhere to a landing page of exactly how to buy. Landing pages are very important for this step. And you want to add bonuses potentially for webinar viewers, which can make it feel even more exclusive. And these bonuses can be things like make 10K a month with Facebook ads even with no experience. Stuff like that kind of kills objections in a more subtle way. So any final objections you think they may have still at this stage, you can even handle them in the bonus. And that's a great way to do it. So after each bonus you list through, you can be pushing them to another call to action, CTA, and show always that slots are filling up. You can even have live counters I see people use on their landing pages to show more people are buying in and there's not many slots left. And basically keep reminding them that they don't want to miss out, because this creates urgency, scarcity, and the bonuses can handle any future objections. I've seen a lot of people running successful webinars also use scarcity tactics like limiting the amount of available spots. This can also be a good strategy to play around with for sure. Hopefully this video gave you a good idea of how to structure your next webinar. There's obviously a ton more stuff that goes into scaling online coaching businesses. You've got automations, tracking metrics, hiring out sales teams. So if you have an online audience and you want help scaling to 15K, 50K, or even 100K months, you can book a free strategy call below where I basically go over and give you a personalized audit of your current funnel. I show you the exact systems that 7-figure infopreneurs use, as well as giving you a step-by-step roadmap to scale in the future. Of course, I do have my own offer that I'm selling, but you're going to get a lot of free value from it either way, whether you work with me or not.